All right, so Paul Finebaum came out and talked about how Michigan, he believed, was still ranked too high. Michigan ranked ninth in the preseason AP poll. Michigan fans very upset about it. Everybody's sleeping on us. National champions defending. Don't you know we have 4 players coming back from last year's starters, and they are very very upset. And Paul Finebaum only continues to fan the flame of their anger. In addition to that, I did a little bit of research into the AP poll and thought, well, I'm sure Michigan had to be one of these controversial teams that was kind of all over the place. When you're in this 9, 10 range, kind of barely in the top 10, people are generally, very swaying on you. Well, Michigan was as high as 5th with some voters. I don't believe they got any higher than that. And then they were also as low as 21st. 21st. That is pretty crazy to think of the defending national champion to be 21st in the preseason AP poll. But in addition to this and Paul Finebaum, I thought this would be a good segment for us to talk about. TJ, we'll start with you, man. Is Michigan just living off of last year too much, or do you believe Paul Finebaum is right and some of these AP voters are right as well? This isn't a top 10 team. They're outside the top 10 in the preseason. What are your thoughts, TJ? Or if you just want to bash Paul Finebaum, that's fine.
Yeah, let me say this first. Nobody listens to Paul Finebaum, and nobody cares what he says.
Yes.
So let me be clear on that. The guy's a total troll. Whatever credibility he might have had at one point is gone. He's not a journalist anymore. He just wants sound bites and clickbait and all this stuff. So now, having said that, I'm really, on the Common Fan podcast, we like to refer to Michigan as the Michigan Astros. And I think that it's really interesting. Like, I think Michigan is going to take a step back. I think there is going to be an impact of losing Harbaugh and a possibly bigger impact of losing, Fletch, AKA Connor Stallions, the man of countless disguises. And I think Michigan fans need to be ready for that. And so, I think it's inevitable that they are going to take a step back. And aren't they? I should know this. I'm sorry, I don't know this, but they're transitioning into what's their quarterback situation?
It's Alex Orgy, Jack Tuttle, or Davis Warren. I believe
exactly.
Davis Warren is kind of out of the race.
But there's not even a clear answer on the quarterback situation. First year head coach Fletch is gone. Now he's doing his own Netflix special or whatever he's doing. And so, there's just when there's all and then there's all this stuff now, this recent stuff about, the text messages and all there's so much stuff swirling. I think it's foolish to assume that they're just going to pick up where they left off and be this well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm. I think you know what? I think they're right for a preseason poll. They're where they should be. If you win the national championship, you should probably get, at least in the top 10 the preseason poll the following year. Will they stay there throughout the year? Oh God, no, I don't think so. For most of the reasons TJ just detailed, but I think if you win the national championship and you've got a certain amount of guys coming back, you should get that kind of, you should be able to live off of last year just a little bit. It should get you inside the top 10. Should they be any higher than they are? Absolutely not. But I think your success kind of gives you that kind of little feather in the cap. Start out the year in good shape, and then we'll watch them unravel throughout. And I'm not saying unravel. They'll probably still win 8 games or so.
Yeah, we can only hope they'll unravel.
I wouldn't mind it. But I think they're where they should be.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Zach? You think they're where they should be? You think maybe national champions, they deserve a little bit more respect, or you're like, everybody's gone, kick them out of the top 10?
Well, before that, I think we need to have a top 25 sportscasters, and we need to debate whether Paul Finebaum is overrated or underrated. He's overrated.
He's way overrated.
Hey, I will say, I did really enjoy Paul Finebaum when he had his call-in show. And he had the crazy callers. I think that was the show where the guy that poisoned the trees,
yes,
the Alabama trees, he got arrested because of that. That is legendary. You had a call-in show where a guy confessed to a crime and got arrested because that's pretty legendary. Anyway, go ahead.
He might have been in the top 25 that year, but he's not in the top 25 anymore.
Yeah, now he is the crazy caller.
Yeah,
He gets to call into ESPN because
he's out there poisoning trees.
Yes. I think there's a couple things about this. I think I really appreciate, Matty, what you're saying. I don't know who you put above Michigan to start the season because there's a lot of uncertainty underneath, like maybe Missouri. But other than that, like there's concerns about LSU, there's concerns about Clemson, there's concerns about Oklahoma. Then it's like you start getting to Oklahoma State and like, I'm not putting Oklahoma State above Michigan.
No.
Especially when, yes, Michigan lost a lot of people. They lost their head coach. They still have maybe the best defensive tackle duo in the country. That D line.
I don't think it's a maybe. I think they do for sure have the best defensive
like
tackle duo.
They are, and that'll cure a lot of ills. Like you've got the best corner in the country. They've filled holes in the secondary. Their linebacking unit is rebuilt, but I think Barham, they're talking crazy things about him at the linebacker spot. And while the quarterback room is a question, you still got Donovan Edwards. I still think the offensive line is going to be pretty good. Colston Loveland is probably a first-round pick at tight end. So, like, the cupboard's not bare. It's just a lot of questions, which is why I think 9th makes a lot of sense. So I think Finebaum just wants to talk because he hates the Big Ten. Like, I have a lot of issues with other teams. Like, why is Ole Miss 6th or 5th? Like, what did they do to deserve that? They lost their best player in Judkins.
Right.
Why is Alabama 5th when they lost their center and Caleb Downs? Like, what are we doing?
I just have this to say, guys. All right. There is a guy named John Wilner who votes in the AP poll. Okay.
Troll.
And his poll, we can get into the rest of the poll here in just a second. It's very interesting. He has Michigan 16th in his poll. Do you know who he has 14th ahead of Michigan?
Nebraska.
Wow.
For real?
Does he really?
Nebraska 14th.
I love this guy.
This guy's a genius. Yeah, smartest voter there is.
This website I look at, I don't know if anybody is ever interested in this stuff, but go to collegepolltracker.com. It shows you all this stuff. Again, that's collegepolltracker.com. It's crazy. But like they highlight the picks that are extreme, which is like 5 spots higher or lower than what people normally have. His entire thing is all blue. I mean, his top 4 isn't bad. Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Oregon. Number 5, Utah.
Texas is way too high.
Utah.
Number 9, Oklahoma State. Number 12, Miami. 13, Penn State. 14, Nebraska. 16, Michigan. LSU 18th. Iowa 20th. Wisconsin 22. It says he has a Cincinnati lean, but I think he has a pretty heavy Big Ten lean personally. But
where's this? What's his name and where's this guy from? Do we know who he writes for?
San Jose, California.
Yeah, San Jose Mercury News.
Yeah, I don't think this guy's being talked about enough. I think he deserves a nationwide column.
You should bring him on the show.
You know what I bet happened? I bet our former basketball coach, the great Timmy Miles, who's out there coaching San Jose State, became buddies with this guy. And so now he's putting Nebraska up there at 14th.
Tim's a smooth talker.
Yeah.
I will say he was not the only one that had Nebraska in his top 25, though. Kirk Kinney, also from San Diego, or no, sorry, this is San Diego. He's the other guy with San Jose. So something about the sand places. Really, really like you guys. He had Nebraska 22nd. So 2 spots behind Iowa, but we can forgive him for that.
We do have a very large chapter of Californians for Nebraska out there.
That's true.
So if we ever go to the play at the Rose Bowl, or this year we're going down to the Coliseum in LA, there's going to be a lot of Husker fans out there. A lot of Huskers out in Cali.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that Wilner has Ohio State 1 because I know for years it felt like he was perennially hard on the Buckeyes. So it's interesting that he's got them number 1 and he's got Nebraska so high. I think that's good though. I think they're ranked at least by mid-season. That would be
the Huskers, Zach.
Yeah, Huskers.
Oh, I have my other
well,
screen
we
over.
think it'll be earlier than that. I think.
I have my other screen over here with all
Colorado,
the rankings, and there's
you're in.
good stuff in the comments.
Yeah.
Jared Jones says John Wilner is the one who broke the USC.
That's
UCLA
okay.
news.
I recognize that. Yeah.
To the Big
Okay.
Ten.
He was doing a lot of the conference realignment stuff. I remember that now.
Yeah. And then buddy of the program, Jack on Bucks, says he would have the Huskers ranked.
Man, you guys have
Jack.
some really informed listeners. Right? You guys have some great listeners.
And you know what? We can't
Jack on
see
Bucks.
them. We can't see them, but I bet they're all very attractive human beings.
They're very. I bet so. Chuck on Bucks. I'd love to buy you a beer.
Hey, go on over to his page,
or a
Jack on
spark-
Bucks. He's got a
or
great
sparkling-
YouTube channel.
I say-
I listen to him every morning.
We got a Michigan fan who wants a corn hat.
We can make that happen.
Okay, yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
Get one of those
Yankee
corn
Wolverine.
hats.
Yeah.
Say
We
that's
can-
just popular in the Midwest. I mean, that's not even just Nebraska. That's like, every Midwesterner needs a corn
I'm
hat.
just curious. Is that for Connor Stallions to use as his next disguise? Is that?
Oh, you want this? You want this corn hat, or you want like the corn head?
I think the corn
the-
hat you have on.
Yeah,
I
the
think
corn
is what he's
hat.
saying.
Oh, this is limited edition. You can't find these in stores. You can't find these
Okay.
in stores.
All right.
I just like to point out there's corn on mine too. There's corn. Oh, how am I doing? Corn and an N. You guys see
Oh, I
that?
can see it. I can
There
see
you
it.
go.
Okay, maybe it was yours he was talking about, TJ.
Could have been.
Yeah.
It was probably mine.
Like, hey, hold on. Don't give away that credit. All right. Well, let's ask this question and then we'll move on, guys. Zach, we'll start with you. I'll put the heat on you first since you're my co-host.
Oh, boy.
Where do you think Michigan will finish the year being ranked? You don't have to give me like an exact rank. You can say, oh, they'll be top 25, top 20, top 15, number 1, whatever you want to call it. Where do you think Michigan will be at the end of the year?
Honestly, the playoff. Like I think
So
more
top
I
10
look at it-
essentially when you look at all like the people getting in with the what's it called, conference championship stuff like that, you think Michigan will be a top 10 team at the end of the season?
Yeah, I think people are underselling the line play and how good it's going to be, and that the line play with the secondary. I think regardless of the quarter, remember they made the playoff with Cade McNamara.
True.
Like,
yeah.
their defense is better than 2021.
Yeah. Cade's now turning heads at Iowa. People forget that.
We talked about his scrimmage stats on Sunday night.
I don't want to take us off track.
It was turning heads for sure. So. TJ, where do you think they'll be ranked at the end of the year?
I'm gonna say this. They are gonna have a season worthy of the very bottom of the top 25, 23, 24, 25. But because of the powers that be within the college football industrial complex, they'll still end up in the playoff. And so that's something we talk about a lot about on our show too, is the college football industrial complex and being aligned against Nebraska basically since forever, and something we've had to overcome even through our great years. So that's what I
watch out, John Wilner. He's aligned with Nebraska. So
yeah.
Well, they're probably out to get him.
They probably are. They've got a hit out on poor John. Yeah.
He needs to black out his windows and make sure nobody's coming for him. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Matty, your thoughts? Where will Michigan finish?
I think somewhere in the 15 to 25 range. I don't think they're, the question mark for me is quarterback. Like Zack said, they're so good in the trenches, and I think they will be, for the foreseeable future. But when you don't, we're this late in the game, and maybe real close Michigan insiders have a good idea of who's going to be the quarterback. But when you don't really know this late in the game, it's a little bit concerning. I think that's the most important position in all of sports is quarterback. So just for that reason, I think anywhere, I know this is broad, but 15 to 25 in there.
Yep.
That makes sense. I do want to point out what Yankee said, because I did find it really funny when I glanced over. He said, "You want evidence of sign stealing? Michigan won the Big Ten with Cade McNamara."
There we go.
And Yankee is a Michigan fan. I appreciate Yankee.
Yeah. Appreciate
we
the honesty.
love Yankees.
We love a good self-aware Wolverine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got some good comedy in him, so good time.